The red dust of Mars swirled around Dr. Sarah Chen's boots as she made her way across Acidalia planitia. The setting sun cast long shadows across the rust-colored landscape, turning her white research suit into a canvas of orange and purple hues. She'd made this trek dozens of times in the past 6 months, but today felt different. The readings from her equipment had shown something impossible. A perfect geometric pattern of energy signatures buried 20 meters below the surface. "Base, I'm approaching the anomaly site now," she reported, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Energy readings are getting stronger." "Copy that, Dr. Chen," came the response from Mars Base 1. "Remember, no excavation without clearance. This is just a preliminary scan." Sarah smiled to herself. After 15 years of studying theoretical xenorchaeology, she knew this was more than just another curious formation in the Martian soil. The pattern was too precise, too deliberate. The scanner in her hand chirped as she reached the epicenter of the readings. The display showed a perfect hexagonal structure beneath her feet, each side exactly 108 meters long. Natural formations didn't create such precise geometry. "Base, I'm getting clear structural definitions now. This isn't natural, and it's definitely not human." She paused, watching new data scroll across her display. "There's an energy signature unlike anything in our databases. It's pulsing." Before Mission Control could respond, the ground beneath her feet began to vibrate. Sarah stumbled backward as a low hum filled the air, resonating through her suit. The red soil started to shift and fall away, revealing glimpses of a metallic surface that gleamed like new despite its age. "Dr. Chen, get out of there now." The voice from base crackled with static. "We're picking up massive energy spikes." But Sarah couldn't move. She stood transfixed as a pillar of light erupted from the ground, shooting straight up into the Martian sky. The beam pulsed with colors she had no names for, creating patterns that seemed to carry meaning just beyond her comprehension. Within hours, every telescope on Earth and Mars turned toward a single point in space. Something was coming. Multiple somethings. Massive ships appeared in the outer solar system, moving with impossible speed and grace. Humanity's first contact wasn't going to be a choice. We had inadvertently rang a doorbell we didn't even know existed, and now the neighbors were coming to call. The alien ships arrived in Earth orbit exactly 3 days after the beacon's activation. They were beautiful in a terrifying way. Smooth organic curves that seemed to flow like liquid metal, surfaces that shifted and changed like the skin of some cosmic creature. Their message came simultaneously to every electronic device on Earth and Mars, translated perfectly into each local language. "Greetings, developing civilization. You have activated a Federation beacon, thereby announcing your readiness to join the galactic community. As per Standard Protocol 2471, we are here to begin your integration process. Your system contains significant resources required by the Federation. In exchange for protection and limited technological access, you will be expected to meet annual resource quotas. Failure to comply will result in reclassification of your species as non-cooperative." The world's governments scrambled to respond, but the aliens weren't interested in negotiations. They provided a list of required resources, rare earth elements, precious metals, and something they called quantum active minerals, along with annual quotas that would strip Earth's reserves within decades. Dr. Chen watched from Mars as humanity faced its first real test as a unified species. The aliens clearly expected compliance born of fear. Their ships could easily destroy our major cities. Their technology was centuries, maybe millennia beyond ours. But as she studied the alien transmissions, Sarah noticed something peculiar. Despite their overwhelming technological advantage, the aliens seemed almost nervous. They kept their ships at a safe distance. Their demands, while harsh, carefully avoided direct confrontation. They were powerful, yes, but they were also cautious. And in that caution, Sarah saw humanity's first real hope. She began composing a message to Earth's newly formed United Defense Council. The aliens had revealed more than they intended. Their technology, while advanced, followed patterns we could understand. Their caution suggested previous experience with primitive species fighting back. Most importantly, they had shown us exactly what they valued: specific resources that seemed vital to their civilization. And if there's one thing humans excelled at, it was finding innovative ways to deny resources to their enemies. As Sarah typed her report, a plan began to form. The aliens thought they were dealing with a primitive species that would bow to superior force. They were about to learn that humanity had a long history of surprising those who underestimated us. What they saw as a simple resource extraction would become the catalyst for humanity's greatest technological leap forward. The Federation had made a crucial mistake. They had given us both a reason to unite and a deadline to surpass their expectations. The game was on, and humanity was playing for keeps. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Dr. Maya Patel stared at a computer simulation that shouldn't have been possible. The holographic display showed streams of particles behaving in ways that defied conventional physics, forming patterns that mirrored the alien ship's defense systems. "Run it again," she ordered, her voice hoarse from too many hours without sleep. And this time, increase the quantum entanglement field by 12%. The simulation flickered and reformed. Maya leaned forward, her dark eyes reflecting the dancing lights. For 3 months since the Federation's arrival, she'd been leading Project Titan, humanity's secret attempt to understand and replicate alien technology. The project had started with Dr. Chen's observations from Mars, but it had evolved into something far more ambitious. Dr. Patel, her assistant, called from across the lab. "The latest data from our orbital monitors just came in. The Federation ships are still maintaining their standard patrol patterns, but we've detected some interesting fluctuations in their shield frequencies." Maya nodded, not taking her eyes off the simulation. The aliens thought they were being clever, varying their shield frequencies to prevent analysis. But they didn't realize that human pattern recognition capabilities, especially when enhanced by AI, could spot regularities even in seemingly random variations. "They're using a quantum-based defensive system," Maya explained to the team gathering around her station. "But look here." She pointed to a particular wave pattern. "They're not actually manipulating quantum fields directly. They're using conventional energy fields to influence quantum states. It's elegant, but inefficient," completed Dr. James Chen, Sarah's brother and the team's quantum mechanics expert. "They're taking the long way around because they never discovered how to directly manipulate quantum fields." Maya smiled. This was humanity's advantage. The aliens' technology was advanced, but it had developed along conservative lines. They'd found something that worked and stuck with it for possibly thousands of years. Humans, on the other hand, had a habit of trying crazy ideas just to see what would happen. "Show them the prototype," Maya said. James pressed a button, and a section of the lab's floor slid open. A platform rose, carrying what looked like a small satellite dish made of materials that seemed to shift color as you watched them. This was the product of 3 months of round-the-clock work, humanity's first quantum manipulation device. "The aliens use massive amounts of energy to create their defensive shields," Maya explained. "But we found a way to achieve the same effect with less than 1% of the power requirement. Instead of pushing against quantum fields, we're dancing with them." The prototype hummed to life, generating the shield bubble that was invisible except for a slight distortion in the air. One of the technicians picked up a high-powered laser and fired it at the bubble. The beam simply ceased to exist where it hit the shield. "The energy isn't being deflected or absorbed," Maya continued, her voice growing excited. "It's being phase-shifted into a parallel quantum state. Theoretically, this shield could stop anything short of a direct antimatter hit." The implications were staggering. If they could scale this technology up, they could protect entire ships, or cities, from alien weapons. But Maya's team had taken the concept even further. "The real breakthrough isn't the shield itself," she said, touching a control panel. The shield bubble began to pulse in a complex rhythm. It's this. We can tune the quantum field to resonate with specific frequencies, including the ones used by Federation ships. Understanding dawned on the faces around her. This wasn't just a defensive technology. It was a key that could unlock the aliens' supposedly impenetrable defenses. But as the team celebrated their breakthrough, Maya's expression remained serious. She pulled up another display, showing the resource quotas the Federation had demanded. The next collection was due in less than 2 months, and Earth's governments were making a show of complying while secretly stockpiling critical materials. "We're in a race against time," she reminded her team. "The Federation ships are watching everything we do on the surface. They're monitoring our power grid, our manufacturing centers, our ship movements. We need to find a way to scale up production of these devices without them noticing." James raised an eyebrow. "You have an idea, don't you?" Maya's smile returned, with a hint of mischief this time. "Tell me, how much attention do you think they're paying to all those new cryptocurrency mining facilities being built in remote areas?" The team gathered closer as Maya laid out her plan. The Federation thought they were watching a primitive species scrambling to meet their demands. They had no idea that every apparent sign of compliance was part of a carefully orchestrated deception. Hidden in plain sight, humanity was preparing to teach the galaxy a lesson about the danger of underestimating supposedly primitive species. The real question wasn't whether we could match their technology. Maya's team had already proven we could surpass it. The question was whether we could do it fast enough. As Maya looked around at the determined faces of her team, she felt a surge of pride. Throughout history, humans had done their best work when backed into a corner. Now, faced with an alien threat that thought to subjugate us through superior technology, we were about to remind the galaxy why you should never give humans both a deadline and a motivation to innovate. A mile beneath Europa's icy surface, Captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the viewport of humanity's best-kept secret. The massive underwater construction facility stretched for kilometers through the warm ocean beneath the moon's frozen crust, illuminated by the ethereal blue glow of thermal vents. "Status report," she commanded, watching robotic assemblers weave metamaterials around the skeletal frame of what would become Earth's first quantum-enhanced battleship. "Hull quantum resonance is stable at 99.8%, reported Commander David Park from his station. "We're successfully incorporating the salvaged Federation tech with Dr. Patel's innovations. This ship will be unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen." Elena nodded, pride mixing with anticipation, while the Federation's attention remained fixed on Earth and Mars. Humanity had been busy in the outer solar system. The mining operations on Europa's surface were real enough, but they were just a cover for what was happening below. "Show me the fleet status," she ordered. A holographic display materialized, showing 12 ships in various stages of construction. Unlike the smooth, organic curves of Federation vessels, these ships featured angular geometries that seemed to fold in on themselves in impossible ways. They were designed not just to fight, but to exploit the very laws of physics in ways the aliens had never imagined. "The Prometheus will be ready for trials in 48 hours, David reported. "The quantum core is stable, and the AI integration is proceeding ahead of schedule." That was another advantage they held over the Federation. The aliens relied heavily on conventional computing, having apparently never developed true artificial intelligence. They couldn't imagine that humanity had already created AIs sophisticated enough to help design their own successors. "Captain," a new voice called out. Dr. Sarah Chen, recently transferred from Mars, hurried onto the command deck. "You need to see this." The scientist pulled up new data on the main display. "We've decoded more of the Federation's communication protocols. They're not just here for our resources. Earth sits at a critical strategic location in their territory. They're planning to convert our entire solar system into a major military hub." Elena's expression hardened. The timeline had just shifted dramatically. How long? "Their main fleet arrives in 3 months. Once they're here, they'll begin full military occupation. The ships in orbit now are just the advance guard." The captain turned back to the viewport, watching the construction robots work with increased urgency. Then we have 3 months to be ready. Show me the weapons testing results. New data scrolled across the screens. The quantum resonance torpedoes had exceeded all expectations, their ability to phase through conventional shields making them virtually unstoppable. The adaptive armor could absorb and redirect energy weapons, while the gravity manipulation systems gave their ships maneuverability that would seem impossible to the Federation. What about the crews? Elena asked. Finding people who could handle the neural interfaces of these new ships had been a major challenge. The training program is proceeding well, David answered. It turns out all those years of virtual reality gaming gave us a huge pool of candidates who can process complex three-dimensional combat scenarios instinctively. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Another advantage of being primitive. Their young people had spent years training their brains for exactly this kind of warfare without even knowing it. Dr. Chen, she turned to the scientist. How close are we to replicating their FTL technology? Sarah's eyes lit up. Actually, we improved on it. Their system uses brute force to punch through space-time. Ours slides between the quantum layers of reality. It's more efficient and virtually impossible to detect or track. The pieces were coming together faster than anyone had dared hope. Humanity had taken the Federation's technology and reimagined it from first principles, creating something entirely new in the process. An alert sounded, drawing everyone's attention to the tactical display. One of the Federation ships had shifted its orbit, passing closer to Europa than ever before. They're expanding their patrol route, David reported tensely. Still no indication they've detected us, but they're getting bolder in their exploration of the system. Elena studied the alien ship's trajectory. They're getting comfortable, starting to think they know all our capabilities and limitations. She turned to address the entire command center. That's good. The more confident they are, the more surprised they'll be when we show them what humanity is really capable of. The construction robots continued their work, each passing hour bringing them closer to the moment of truth. Soon, the Federation would learn that they hadn't found a primitive species to exploit. They had awakened a sleeping giant, one that was about to revolutionize warfare in ways their ancient civilization had never imagined. As Elena watched another quantum core power up, its ethereal glow reflecting off the dark waters of Europa, she knew that humanity's greatest test was approaching. But for the first time since the aliens arrived, she was certain we were ready to face it. The Federation's massive collection ships descended through Earth's atmosphere right on schedule, their liquid metal hulls gleaming in the morning sun. They had come to collect their quarterly tribute of resources, completely unaware that they were flying into a trap 3 months in the making. Admiral Chen watched from her command center deep within the Himalayan mountains as the alien vessels took up their standard positions above major mining facilities. Everything appeared normal, exactly as it had during their previous collections, except this time, things were very different. All quantum shield generators are active and synchronized, reported her tactical officer. The Federation ships are completely inside our grid. Sarah nodded, remembering how they had hidden the shield generators inside what appeared to be standard mining equipment. The aliens had scanned them dozens of times, never realizing that beneath the ordinary metal and circuitry lay crystalline structures capable of manipulating quantum fields across vast distances. Status of the Europa fleet, she asked, her voice steady despite the gravity of what they were about to attempt. All ships report ready, Admiral. The Prometheus leads the formation, with 11 vessels in support positions. Quantum signatures are masked, and the Federation's sensors remain blind to our presence. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. While the collection ships were distracted by their resource gathering, humanity would demonstrate just how much they had learned and improved upon in the months since first contact. Send the signal, Sarah ordered. Across Earth, hidden quantum generators activated simultaneously. The Federation ships suddenly found themselves encased in overlapping fields that negated their advanced shields and drive systems. Before they could react, massive electromagnetic pulses, riding the quantum fields, shut down their primary systems. Federation vessels are immobilized, Tactical reported with barely contained excitement. Their backup systems are attempting to compensate, but they can't penetrate our quantum interference. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Launched the Europa fleet. Deep beneath the icy surface of Jupiter's moon, 12 ships of human design powered up their revolutionary drive systems. The water around them began to ripple as quantum fields warped space itself. Then, in a display that would have been impossible according to Federation physics, the entire fleet simply shifted. They reappeared in Earth orbit moments later, surrounding the disabled collection ships. The Prometheus led the formation, its angular hull seeming to bend light around it in ways that hurt the eye to look at. "Open a channel to all Federation vessels," Sarah commanded. "Let's show them what a primitive species can do." The Federation's response was predictable. They attempted to signal their combat fleet waiting at the edge of the solar system. But humanity had learned from Dr. Patel's research. The quantum fields surrounding Earth weren't just restraining the alien ships. They were isolating them in a bubble of altered space-time. No signals would get out until humans allowed it. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force," she broadcast to the trapped alien ships. "Your vessels are currently contained within a quantum isolation field. Your weapons are useless, your shields are down, and your communication with the main fleet has been severed. We are prepared to demonstrate just how effective our containment technology is if you choose not to cooperate." There was a long pause before the Federation commander responded. When they did, their translated voice carried a note of disbelief. "Impossible. Your species lacks the technological advancement for such capabilities." "Take a closer look at your sensor readings," Sarah replied. "That is, if your sensors can even comprehend what we've done to local spacetime. You made a fundamental mistake in assuming that technological progress only follows one path, yours. Humanity took your basic principles and reimagined them entirely." To emphasize her point, she ordered one of the human ships to demonstrate their phase shift technology. The vessel's hull briefly shimmered before seeming to pass through one of the Federation ships like a ghost, emerging on the other side unscathed. "That's just a taste of what we've developed," Sarah continued. "Your civilization has relied on the same technological foundations for so long that you've forgotten how to innovate. We've learned more about quantum manipulation in 3 months than you have in 1,000 years." She could almost feel the shock radiating from the alien vessels. Their entire worldview, one built on the assumption of their technological superiority, was crumbling before them. "So here are our terms," Sarah declared. "You will withdraw your forces from our solar system. You will acknowledge Earth's independence from the Federation. And you will prepare yourselves for a very different kind of relationship with humanity, one based on mutual respect rather than exploitation." As she waited for their response, Sarah reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From that first discovery on Mars to the secret facilities under Europa's ice, humanity had proven once again that its greatest strength wasn't its technology or its resources, but its ability to adapt, innovate, and overcome seemingly impossible odds. The Federation had arrived expecting to find a primitive species ready for exploitation. Instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous: human ingenuity unleashed by necessity and focused by determination. The Federation's main battle fleet arrived exactly as predicted, emerging from hyperspace in a display of power meant to overwhelm any resistance. Over 300 ships, each larger than anything humanity had ever built before first contact, formed up in an attack pattern that had subjugated 1,000 worlds. But Earth was ready. "Quantum field grid is active," reported Captain Rodriguez from the Prometheus. "All Federation ships are now inside our containment zone." Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of humanity's flagship, watching the alien armada through quantum-enhanced sensors. The Federation ships were impressive, their liquid metal hulls bristling with weapons that could reduce continents to ash. But they were about to learn that raw power wasn't everything. "Send the message," she ordered. The Federation commander's response was immediate and predictable. Surrender your system immediately, or face annihilation. Your primitive defenses cannot hope to. Sarah cut the transmission with a gesture. Activate the quantum resonance wave. Across the solar system, hidden generators powered up simultaneously. The technology that Dr. Patel had developed, combined with discoveries made by studying Federation ships, had led to something unprecedented. The space around Earth rippled like water disturbed by a stone. The Federation fleet's shields flickered and died. Their quantum fields are completely destabilized, Tactical reported. They're trying to remodulate, but our system is adapting faster than their computers can compensate. This was humanity's true advantage. While the Federation relied on pre-programmed responses and ancient tactics, Earth's ships used adaptive AI systems that could evolve strategies in real time. Every counter the aliens attempted was analyzed and overcome before it could take effect. Deploy the phase shift torpedoes, Sarah commanded. Demonstration pattern only. Let's show them exactly what they're dealing with. Quantum-guided projectiles launched from Earth's defensive grid, passing through the Federation ship's hull as if they weren't there. They detonated harmlessly in space beyond the fleet, but the message was clear. If this had been a real attack, their mighty armada would already be destroyed. Reopen the channel, Sarah ordered. The Federation commander's hologram appeared, their alien features showing what humans had learned to recognize as fear. How this technology should be impossible. Your species was primitive mere months ago. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. That was your first mistake. You assumed that because we hadn't developed certain technologies, we couldn't understand them. The truth is, humanity has something your Federation lost long ago. The ability to look at problems from entirely new angles. She gestured and displays appeared showing the quantum technology Earth had developed. Your civilization has been using the same basic principles for millennia. You stopped innovating because you thought you had all the answers. But humanity, we're never satisfied with good enough. The displays shifted to show Earth's defensive grid, the quantum shields protecting not just military targets but civilian populations. We took your basic concepts and reimagined them completely. While you were watching our surface activities, measuring our primitive technology, we were building something entirely new. The Federation Council will never accept this, the alien commander warned. We cannot allow an unpredictable species with such powerful technology to. You don't have a choice, Sarah interrupted. Look at your tactical displays. Really look. Your weapons can't penetrate our shields. Your engines can't break free of our quantum fields. You're not here to negotiate our surrender. You're here to negotiate yours. A tense silence followed. Sarah could almost see the calculations running through the alien commander's mind. Their entire worldview was being challenged. A species they had dismissed as primitive had not only matched their technology, but had fundamentally improved upon it. But we're not interested in conquest, Sarah continued, her voice softening slightly. Earth is offering the Federation something far more valuable than submission. We're offering partnership. Think about it. How many other primitive species might have insights your civilization has overlooked? How much stronger could the Federation be if it learned to value innovation over tradition? Hours later, as the Federation fleet prepared to withdraw under the watchful eyes of Earth's defenses, Sarah stood at the Prometheus's viewing port. Humanity had done more than just survive. We had proven that intelligence and creativity could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. The Federation would return, but not as conquerors. They would come as partners, having learned a valuable lesson about underestimating primitive species, and humanity would continue to innovate, to push boundaries, to imagine new possibilities. For in the end, our greatest strength wasn't our technology or our weapons. It was our ability to adapt, to think differently, and to come together in the face of overwhelming challenges. The Federation had arrived expecting to find savages to exploit. Instead, they had found something far more powerful, human ingenuity unleashed. As the last alien ship disappeared into hyperspace, Sarah smiled. This wasn't just a victory for Earth. It was a message to the galaxy. Humanity had arrived, and we were going to change everything.